To the past to shape the future. It's happening in cannabis too.
Exactly. And that's what we're exploring today, right? This deep dive is all about the mission of Archive of Classic Seeds.
Spot on. They're doing something really interesting, not just, selling seeds, but actively working to preserve and, well, celebrate these classic cannabis strains. Land races too, from decades ago.
It's like they're guarding history, botanical timekeepers, sort of.
That's a good way to put it.
Because it's not just about the seeds themselves, is it? It's about safeguarding this whole heritage. And for you listening, understanding why this matters.
Yeah, it's key. These older genetics, they have unique qualities.
Absolutely. Qualities that are genuinely at risk, actually. Think about the unique effects, the really complex aromas.
Yeah.
Those could just vanish.
Vanish because of modern trends. Yeah, modern breeding trends often push towards different goals. So these nuances, they get lost if we're only chasing the newest, maybe highest THC strain.
Right. So today, our mission, our deep dive, is really to get into the why. Why preserve these classics? What does it mean for, cannabis diversity, for the choices we all have?
Exactly. And we're getting our info straight from the source, from Archive of Classic Seeds themselves.
Okay, let's dig into that why then. This clearly isn't just a standard business for them. What's the real passion driving this?
Well, it seems to go way beyond just commerce. It feels like it's really rooted in this deep appreciation for the cultural history, the medical potential, the actual genetic heritage of cannabis. These older genetics, they're not just like historical footnotes. They are the literal foundation, the bedrock that modern breeding was built
It's
on.
a foundation.
Yeah, think about it. Without these original strains, these land races that adapted over time in specific places, a huge chunk of the diversity we see now just wouldn't even exist. They evolved, adapted. Preserving them means safeguarding that whole evolutionary story.
So they're the original blueprints, kind of. And you said they're actually under threat, like facing extinction.
It's a real risk, yeah.
Yeah.
These classic varieties, the land races, they could genuinely fade away. The market often wants novelty, right, or traits for mass production.
So older, maybe less trendy strains get ignored?
Exactly. Overlooked, discontinued. And that's where Archive of Classic Seeds steps in. They see the inherent value in that genetic history.
Okay, and that brings us to something you mentioned earlier, this danger of genetic uniformity. That sounds a bit worrying for the plant's future, doesn't it?
It is a concern. And what's particularly interesting is this trend towards feminized seeds becoming dominant, and also the rise of polyploid genetics.
Polyploid. What's that exactly?
Okay, so polyploidy. It basically means plants have more than the usual 2 sets of chromosomes. Now, this can offer some, maybe, advantages for certain growers.
But there's a downside.
Archive of Classic Seeds points out a potential big one for diversity. Polyploidy can sometimes lead to reduced fertility, sometimes even near infertility in the plants.
Near infertility. Wow. So the plants can't easily reproduce.
Right. And that can create a situation where growers become dependent on specific, often proprietary, genetic lines. You can't just breed them yourself easily.
So sort of genetic bottleneck?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
The concern is if the market goes too far down that road, growers could end up relying on just a handful of, big suppliers.
Controlling the genetics.
Exactly. And that limits the overall genetic pool available, reduces diversity, and it impacts grower autonomy, too. Your choices become narrower.
That's a really powerful point, how the focus shifts from the plant's natural variety to just, market-optimized traits. And it's fascinating that Archive of Classic Seeds is deliberately taking another route.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are making a conscious choice to prioritize natural, regular genetics. Male and female plants, the way cannabis is reproduced for generations.
The old school way, basically.
Pretty much. They focus on their own self-bred lines, selected very carefully for overall quality, stability, and those unique characteristics we talked about, aromas, effects, not just chasing maximum yield or bag appeal for the mass market.
So it's quality over quantity and ensuring the plants can actually, reproduce naturally.
Yes, they believe that illegally natural reproduction, cross-pollination, it's fundamental. It's key for long-term genetic health and resilience.
Okay, that makes sense. A deliberate choice for robustness and keeping that gene pool wide. Right, let's get specific. Let's talk about some of the strains they highlight. These really show their philosophy, yeah. Let's start with Nebel Haze. What's the story there?
Nebel Haze. Okay, so this one's described as a really interesting mix. It's a cross between Nebula 07, that's from Paradise Seeds, and Neville's Haze F4.
Neville's Haze, a classic.
Yeah, a true classic. The idea was to blend the kind of structure and aroma profile of Nebula with that uplifting, iconic haze character from Neville's, bringing together the best of both, essentially.
Creating a synergy. Okay, so what's it like to grow? What should people expect?
It's a sativa-dominant hybrid. Indoors, you're looking at about 10 to 11 weeks of flowering. But what's cool is they mentioned testing it outdoors, even up to 55 degrees north latitude.
That far north. Wow.
Yeah, with a potential harvest late October. They even mentioned experimental grows in Germany. It tends to stay medium height, but grows quite wide.
Wide. Okay, so maybe good for certain techniques.
Exactly. They say it's ideal for escargot indoors, that screen of green where you train the branches out horizontally. Helps maximize light on those large resinous buds it produces.
Right, escargot helps create that even canopy, boosts yields.
Gotcha. And the smell, the taste? What's the sensory experience with Nebel Haze? Oh, it sounds complex. They describe it as fruity sweet, but with clear citrus notes layered with that classic haze incense and sandalwood. Plus some light earthy bits and even subtle chemical nuances.
Chemical nuances. Interesting. So intricate.
Very. And the taste apparently mirrors that complexity. Sounds like a rich experience.
Definitely a strain with aromatic depth. And the effects. What's the high like?
Known for being clear and focused. Good for creativity, they say, or having, deep conversations. It's described quite poetically as a light fog that actually reveals new thoughts.
Light fog of clarity, like that. Okay, so key takeaway from Nebel Haze. Great for fans of classic sativas, complex smells, stable growth. Got it. Now, next up, VO Haze #1. The name alone suggests something colorful.
It really does. VO Haze #1. This one's a cross between Violetta from A Seeds and, again, Neville's Haze. But here, the key was selecting for a specific phenotype of the Violetta parent.
Phenotype meaning?
Like a specific expression of the genes. In this case, the colorful PCK phenotype. Pakistan Chitral Kush is known for color.
Ah, okay, so color is the standout feature.
Absolutely. That's the unique selling point here. The potential for really intensely colored flowers, greens, violets, even pinks and purples. Real visual diversity.
Sounds stunning. A showstopper for the grow room. How does it grow?
It's mainly sativa. Flowering time indoors is a bit longer, maybe 11 to 12 weeks. Outdoor potential is similar, up to 55 north. Harvesting October, maybe November. It gets large, but stays quite slender, structure-wise.
Large but slender. Does it stretch much?
Yes, significant stretch during flowering. That's mentioned specifically, which is why they often recommend indoor growing, maybe in organic soil, to manage that stretch and size best.
Good tip. So maybe not for tiny tents. What about the aroma and taste of this visual beauty?
You get fruity citrus notes again, but here they're complemented by more floral and woody accents, also creamy nuances and just light haze notes in the background. Sounds really appealing, layering nicely with the look.
Captivating smell to match the look. And the effects. What's the VO Haze #1 experience?
It's described almost symbolically, like embodying inspiration and meditative depth. Good for creative sessions, long walks, finding inner clarity. Enhancing focus and contemplation seems to be the theme.
Thoughtful. So VO Haze #1. Maybe more for experienced growers who really appreciate visual flair, diversity, and that deeper, more profound sativa effect. A work of art, they call it.
That's the vibe, yeah.
Okay, finally, let's hit quick amnesia. The name says it all, right? A faster amnesia.
That is exactly the concept. Quick amnesia, the mix of the famous amnesia core, cut a specific prize clone and a strong Afghan base.
Afghan for speed and structure.
Precisely. The goal was simple. Keep that classic amnesia aroma and effect, but chop down the flowering time. Make it more accessible, faster turnaround.
Speed plus that iconic amnesia profile sounds like a winner for a lot of people. How does it grow?
It's balanced, about 50-50 indica sativa.
Yeah.
Indoor flowering is around 9 weeks. That's definitely quick for an amnesia type.
Yeah, much quicker. Outdoor.
Same potential. 55 north, October, November harvest. It stays medium size and importantly has low stretch.
Low stretch. That's handy indoors.
Very. Makes it ideal for So-Grow Sea of Green or CR Rogue, where you want that manageable, uniform canopy. Very grower-friendly profile.
Compact, quick, manageable. Okay. Does the smell and taste hold up to the amnesia name, though? That's crucial.
Seems like it does. They report dominant citrus notes, those unmistakable spicy haze notes, hints of diesel and incense. All the things you expect from amnesia.
The classic profile.
Yeah, plus some earthy, fruity undertones. Sounds like a complex, satisfying, and genuinely amnesia-reminiscent experience.
So you get the smell without the weight. And the effects. How does quick amnesia feel?
It offers a clear mind, but also a grounded feeling. Calming, they say, but not like heavy sedation. Still leaves you with mental ease.
Okay, so functional relaxation.
Yeah, suitable for relaxed activities, quiet evenings, chilling out but staying sharp. Maybe a more approachable amnesia experience for some.
Balanced, accessible, right? So quick amnesia. For those who love that classic amnesia vibe but need it faster, need a more compact plant, makes sense. Looking at these three, Nebelhaze, VOHaze, #1, quick amnesia, you really get a feel for their commitment, don't you? Preserving variety, specific traits.
You absolutely do. And their vision, it's broader than just these strains. They are consciously, deliberately stepping outside the mainstream cannabis industry vibe
How so?
by prioritizing things like maintaining genetic diversity, giving growers real choice,
Yeah.
emphasizing the actual inherent quality of these older genetics,
Good.
instead of just chasing, the highest THC numbers or whatever the latest trend is.
It really does feel like they're championing a different set of values. It's not just about the bottom line.
Well, what's really compelling is their core belief. They argue that preserving these foundational genetics, these classics and land races, it's not just nostalgia. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
It's
essential
essential for what?
for ensuring a diverse, resilient future for the cannabis plant itself. They see themselves as more than just seed sellers. They're trying to connect things, link the past, the history of cannabis culture, with the present and the future through the genetics they save.
Stewards of the plant's journey, ensuring it stays rich and varied.
That's it. By actively preserving these strains, Archive of Classic Seeds is doing a few key things. Maintaining that vital genetic diversity, safeguarding unique qualities that could be lost, and helping growers stay independent.
Independent from becoming reliant on just a few big players controlling the genetics, like you said before.
Exactly. In a market that could easily become homogenized.
It's a really crucial mission when you frame it like that. It makes you think bigger, beyond just cannabis, about preserving heritage varieties in, well, all of agriculture.
It really does.
So let's recap this deep dive, preserving classic cannabis strains. It's way more than just being nostalgic, isn't it? It's critical. For genetic diversity, for unique effects and smells, and for grower freedom against market pressures.
Absolutely. And the work Archive of Classic Seeds is doing, it really highlights how important that heritage is. It reminds us that sometimes, looking back is actually the best way to cultivate a richer, more interesting future for cannabis.
Definitely gives you food for thought. And maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about those wider implications. Genetic diversity across all the plants we cultivate. What incredible resilience, what unique traits might we lose if we only ever focus on the newest, the biggest, the most commercially successful? It really drives home the value of understanding and, well, cherishing the past to build a better future.